I'm Melissa with Big B Applique. Have you been wanting to make an applique on your embroidery machine but feeling a little overwhelmed and not sure where to start? If so, then this video is for you. I'll show you from start to finish how to make an applique on your embroidery machine, and you'll be amazed at how easy it is. And in fact, you'll wonder what took you so long to get started. Okay, so now let's talk about the supplies that you'll need before you get started on your applique. You're going to need some fabric. This particular applique has 3 fabric changes, so we have 3 pieces of fabric. You'll need some heat and bond light to press onto the back of the fabric, which I've already done here. You'll need your iron to press it. You'll also need an iron to press your fabric smooth before you get started. You're going to need a stabilizer, your threads, a marking pen so that you can mark the center of your fabric. You'll also need your design. I have mine on this jump drive. You'll need a little pair of scissors to cut close to the stitch line, another pair of scissors to cut your fabric with, and your hoop. So let's go to the machine and get started. Okay, so now we're at the machine. I have the design loaded, and it's actually stitching the antennas right now. So just as soon as that's done, we're going to start with the applique. So the first stitch that it's going to stitch is the placement stitch. It's just a little running stitch. It's going to show you where to place your first piece of fabric. So now we're going to take our fabric, we're going to pull the heat and bond light, the paper part off, and we're going to place it right over that area that just stitched. Okay, and you want it to be flat and smooth. Now the next stitch is called the tack down stitch, and what it's going to do is hold your fabric in place. So you want to take your scissors and cut as close to the edge of the fabric or the stitch line as you can get. Being very careful not to go over the line. Okay, so our first fabric piece has stitched, and now we're going to do the placement stitch for the second piece of fabric. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different here, but you'll see that your applique, it works a lot better in the end. So I'm going to remove this piece of yellow fabric right here. I'm just going to nip around that stitch. And remove that piece of fabric so that it doesn't show through the top piece of fabric. Again, you want to remove your hoop and trim around. I'm trying to keep this here where you can see it, but trim around the stitch line as close as you can get to it without going over. Now we have one more color fabric change, and that is going to be our last piece. Be sure when you place your fabric down that you're completely covering the stitches. Also be careful when your hands are in your machine. They shouldn't be, but sometimes I can't help it. I just do it anyway. Okay, now we're going to remove it and trim one more time. Place our hoop back in the machine. Now it's time to do the finished stitch. Now this finished stitch is a satin stitch, so it's going to do a satin stitch all the way around. My first color is my yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. Well, we are all done, and we have just finished a complete applique. So now you just want to remove it from the hoop, take your stabilizer off the back, give it a nice little ironing, and you are done. Applique complete. See how easy that was?